Yo, welcome everyone back to Nexus Summit, hosted by Game Arena. We are now finished and concluded with 5 rounds of Swiss, and we are on to our top 8. Guess what? We have 7 unique decks going into our top 8. We've got Mistblade versus I Missed My Cue. That's Rengar versus Master Yi. We have CarrotWiz versus Spicee, which will be our feature match. That is Lillia versus Ezreal. We have Phoenix versus Kongri, which is Diana versus Irelia. And then we have Troy versus Croy with Produce, which is Lee Sin versus Irelia. Our only duplicate is 2 Irelias into top 8. Everything else is unique, and we are geared for a spicy one. All right, I think our players are locked and loaded and ready to go. And here we are with round 1 of our elimination match. We've got Ezreal with Spicee on the right, and we have CarrotWiz with Lillia on the left. Aspirant's Climb will be our first battlefield, coming out of Ezreal, and Seed of Power coming out of Lillia. Opening up here with our hands, this is the 4 versus 5 seed. I believe both players have the decision based off of seeding who wants to go first or second. And based off of the seeding, that would be CarrotWiz with Lillia most likely going first. Spicee here keeping the Pack of Wonders in hand. And picks up the Treasure Trove Pack of Wonders in hand. We have the combo early on here for Spicee. However, will Spicee have the time to go ahead and commit to establishing this Treasure Trove Pack of Wonders in the face of Lillia, who likes to go pretty ham in regards to scoring points? CarrotWiz starting with a Stalwart Poro, as Spicee leads us off with a stacked deck to try and get a little bit more information, looking at the list in hand. Potentially. The list of powerful gear that allows you to choose a type, whether it's Poro, whether it's Sprite, and then you can rest it to give -2 might to a unit of that type. We are going to go ahead and then lead off with Treasure Trove. So we're going to try and be a little bit slower, but try and accelerate into the mid to end game much faster for Spicee. CarrotWiz now with 4 resources available will send the Stalwart Poro into our Aspirant's Climb, giving us our first point. And it looks like we might be spending a little bit more time developing here. Sprite Fountain, giving us the opportunity to make a Sprite, and then it has temporary, and when it gets destroyed, it makes another Sprite. So we're going to conquer to 2, and we're going to draw a card off the Seed of Power because we got the Aspirant's Climb. CarrotWiz off to a blazing start, already at 2 points, and pretty ahead in terms of card economy. However, Spicee will be accelerating these runes quite fast, starting with 5, and very likely going to send out this Pack of Wonders and send that Treasure Trove packing. Our hand is a little bit light in terms of units. However, it does look like we do have Wind Songer in hand. Just kidding. We're going to go ahead and just establish this Vex. Vex and the list. List being put down here. I imagine naming potentially Sprite. I'm not 100% sure what the name is. Nevertheless, we will come to find out as soon as the first target happens. The temporary Sprite does fall off, and we get a replacement for that Sprite Fountain with another Sprite. Channeling our 2 runes, we'll likely be able to send the Sprite into the Seed of Power, drawing another card, which is pretty good. All right, hold to 3, conquer to 4, almost halfway there. And then draw a card off of Seed of Power. Spicee with this Windsinger might be pretty good. However, this Vex Apathetic is going to make life incredibly difficult for the Lillia because Vex Apathetic says when an opponent plays a unit while I'm at a battlefield, stun it, they can't move it this turn. So basically all of the sprites that get made Well, whether it's from Lillia Legend, Lillia Champion, Sprite Fountain, etc., etc., they don't do anything with Vex Apathetic on the battlefield. So we will go ahead and push out Lillia Phaethon into the base from the champion zone. And likely pass it over from here. CarrotWiz in a commanding lead here with 4 points, trying to continue to retain this tempo as we establish the base. Spicee now going to turn. Picks up another Windsinger. These Windsingers are quite good because they're able to bounce all of these sprites and make conquering significantly easier. Oh, Pack of Wonders comes out, sending that treasure trove home. Ramping one and drawing a card. It looks like we found a Bellows Breath. Still plenty of runes here to work with, Spicee. The question is, will we go ahead and push this Vex forward? I imagine we're probably going to move forward onto this Aspirant's Climb. However, lots of decisions with quite a few cards in hand for Spicee. If we send in this Vex, it leaves it open and vulnerable to the Lillia and the Stalwart Poro to come in and try and kill it. Alright, we're playing the list. And we're going to go ahead and repeat Bellows Breath, giving Lillia -2 off of the list, making it so Bellows Breath can potentially kill both of these units. However, we're going to on guard our Lillia, giving it +1. And off of the Bellows Breath, we're going to go ahead and draw a card with our Ezreal. The question is, did we repeat the Bellows Breath? Because if so, the on guard does not save the Lillia here, only giving it +1. The Bellows Breath giving 2 damage. It looks like it was not repeated. It was only played as a single copy. And look at this. Fizz is going to come out and play Bellows Breath Part 2 Electric Boogaloo and try and kill this Lillia once again, as well as kill this Stalwart Poro. And they'll both go down. It was a big resource commitment for Spicee. However, we are able to take out the Lillia as well as the Stalwart Poro, making it so our Vex Apathetic is able to get on board onto the battlefield and not be nearly as threatened due to this back line. Alright, CarrotWiz, the temporary sprite will disappear. 4-1. However, we've got 7 runes to play with, and we need to find a way to kill this Vex Apathetic. I know for a fact that CarrotWiz does play multiple unchecked powers, and that might be what we're playing. We're cycling 3. Oh, we're playing a Riptide Rex. Riptide Rex to kill this Vex Apathetic, and we played for Deflect. Down goes Vex, and man, Rex was a good play here. Last time I played against CarrotWiz, played multiple unchecked powers. However, perhaps decided to swap those bad boys out for Riptide Rex, and this feels good. Spicee now trying to go ahead and recover from the rune usage from the previous turn. We'll find another Vex Apathetic. So the question is, will we just develop into the base, or will we push this Fizz forward and try and expose our Vex once again? It looks like we're just going to develop the Vex into base and say go. I can't imagine we would push this Fizz forward, and that will not be the play. Passes the turn over to CarrotWiz. CarrotWiz with a Riptide Rex that we can push forward. We can maybe even play some sprites. Maybe a Sprite Fountain, or maybe just activating Lillia Bashful Bloom. so that we can conquer the Seat of Power, or attempt to conquer the Seat of Power, and draw a card. CarrotWiz working with a lot of resources and a lot of cards in hand. Thinking through the lines. Looks like we've got maybe 7 or 8 cards in hand. That's quite a bit. CarrotWiz, thinking through what can be done here. Maybe we start with a Sprite into the Aspirant's Climb, and then Riptide Rex into Seat of Power, just to try and play around potentially like a Gust or a removal onto the Sprite. Alternatively, facing down a Vex, we might want to just consider developing. We're going to pay 4. We're going to use our Lillia Bashful Bloom to make a Sprite. We're going to send it in, probably to the Aspirant's Climb, I imagine. We'll go into the Aspirant's Climb, and it's going to be met with a Gust. The question is, will CarrotWiz play something to try and keep this around? Because if we can conquer Seat of Power as well, we'll get a draw out of this, and we'll go to 6. So in the event that we do have a buff spell, we might want to consider using it, because it'll effectively trade 1 for 1. However, we do not. Down goes the Sprite. And we will establish a Ravenbloom student into our base. Likely we have to pass from here. Risking our Riptide Rex is a bit tricky, and that's what we'll do. We'll pass it on over. We'll say, Spicee, we'll take this turn off. We'll go ahead and rebuild our board. Spicee's going to lead off with a stacked deck. To take a peek at the top of this deck, nothing really that good. 2 lists and a pack of treasure. Pack of wonders. Probably taking a list. Maybe a pack, who knows? I'll be honest, I wouldn't be super excited if I saw all 3 of those cards in my stacked deck. Happy to send 2 of them home. Spicee. Now going to probably go ahead and commit this ramp scheme. Oh, just kidding. We're going to play Ezreal. Probably get rid of one of these extra troves. Oh, we're getting rid of the Windsinger. That's interesting. Windsinger could be pretty handy, to be honest with you. Bouncing some of these pesky units. All right, all right. Pack treasure. Ramp 1, draw 1. Just looking for more playable cards. And we finally found our Bewitching Sprite, which is part of the, like, a little bit of a soft lock with Pack of Wonders, where you get to play it, bounce it, play it, rinse and repeat, and force your opponent down to no cards. All right, playing the Bewitching Sprite, forcing CarrotWiz to discard the Smoke and Mirrors, and passes the turn on over. Once again, not exposing the Vex. We are keeping, I think, 1 open for a potential another Gust if necessary. CarrotWiz working with a full grip here. Looks like we're getting ready to pay 4 for another Lillia activation. That's exactly what it is. Lillia, make a Sprite. Logically speaking, the Sprite's probably going into Aspirant's Climb. It's really the only logical solution here. And then we'll send our Ravenbloom student into the Seat of Power if that works out positively. If it does not, like, the writing is on the wall here. You've got to go ahead and start getting some of these points. Otherwise, you're going to get locked out of the game with Bewitching Sprite, Pack of Wonders. And if we're drawing cards to replace the cards we discard with Bewitching Sprite from the Seat of Power, we'll be able to continuously outgrind it, very likely. All right, Sprite into Aspirant's Climb. Spicee says you're good. Go to 5. Likely we'll send this Ravenbloom student into the seat of power. Threaten to draw a card, and then we can maybe reestablish units in our base once again. Spicee, pretty big grip. However, the question is, how impactful are the cards in hand? We decided not to push forward CarrotWiz. We want to be on an odd number because we are on Aspirant's Climb. So this means double conquer will theoretically win us the game. CarrotWiz playing essentially an aggro Lillia list, which, let's be honest, Lillia's aggro, going up against control Ezreal. This is quite an interesting matchup for both of these players. Alright, we're going to make this Sprite 2 less might. Send in our Bewitching Sprite or our Fizz. Say, what you got? CarrotWiz likely just lets this happen. Says, okay, you have my temporary unit. Because what this means is, it likely means that Spicee is going to commit units to both battlefields, making it so that CarrotWiz can then go into combat against them and look to take out some of these units from base / battlefield and whittle down Spicee's onboard presence. CarrotWiz really thinking this through. Will end up letting it go. Spicee up to 2 points. Moving Bewitching Spirit up to 3 points, and will draw a card from Seat of Power. Oh my god, another. It looks like Spicee's like locked with treasure troves and Pack of Wonders. Just infinite treasure troves. Looking down at his hand saying, oh lord, none of these cards do anything. Spicee probably just like plays a treasure trove here and passes turn. But no, we're going to go ahead and star-crossed. We're going to bounce, I think, Bewitching Spirit and Riptide Rex, but it's going to eat a Defy. However, if we really want to do this, we can Pack of Wonders our Fizz and do it again. Nope, we're going to Pack of Wonders our Bewitching Spirit, pay 3, bring it back out, and say, give me a card from hand. Another Smoke and Mirrors comes out, goes into the bin, and we're grinding away CarrotWiz's resources. Play another pack, another of the list. And likely pass the turnover. There's not a whole lot else Spicee can do. Looks like we're going to go ahead and hide a Windsinger. Play a Treasure Trove. Little does CarrotWiz know, this hand is filled with more Treasure Troves. Oops, all Treasure Troves is basically where we're at. Spicee, double Treasure Trove. I think that was a Gust. And a Thousand-Tailed Watcher in hand. Over on CarrotWiz's side, tons of cards. We've been mostly committing sprites, to be honest with you. So the question is, what are we going to do here? Do we send in our Riptide Rex, which would probably be the most optimal play? Riptide Rex into Aspirant's Climb. Oh. Okay. We're going to go ahead and establish Heart of Dark Ice. Heart of Dark Ice makes it so that you can rest this gear and give one of your units +3 might. So likely what's going to happen is we're going to Heart of Dark Ice, targeting our Ravenbloom student, send it into the Fizz. Alternatively, we could make a Sprite, buff up the Sprite and send it in and say, all right, if you have something, at least it's going to kill a Sprite. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to make a Sprite, and we're going to buff up our Ravenbloom student. We're going to send it in and say, what you got? This is a 5-Might Ravenbloom student. Windsinger trying to target Fizz. Wait, can you target? Did I get debated again? Yeah, you can target your own unit. Let's go. We're turning the Fizz, giving a Conquer over to this Ravenbloom student, and then now the Sprite comes in. It's going to meet a Gust. The question is, will this Gust resolve? It'll eat a Defy. We're not going to go ahead and risk this Riptide Rex once again. We're going to Conquer to 7 and draw a card. CarrotWiz in prime position to win this game. However, we do see Spicee with Thousand-Tailed Watcher as well as a Fizz in hand to be able to Starcross this Riptide Rex. Going to 12 runes is Spicee. Doesn't need to ramp anymore. Sprite Fountain picked up. A lot of options here. I don't necessarily know if many of them are super viable. However, at this point, we probably want to commit the Vex to a battlefield. All right, we're going to start with the Sprite Fountain. We're going to say we're going to Conquer here. Sprite into Aspirant's Climb, going up against Ravenbloom student. We're going to Stupefy the Sprite, buffing our Ravenbloom student, and drawing a card. So Ravenbloom student will win this fight. And now, Spicee probably has to commit the Vex into this. In the event that he wants to Conquer. Otherwise, might Thousand-Tail Watcher just to put a bunch of might onto the battlefields. I imagine this turn Spicee probably wants to Conquer both the battlefields so we can draw a card because our hand is like pretty mediocre. We are going to go ahead and commit the Vex. Vex goes into Aspirant's Climb. We'll Conquer for Spicee and kill the Ravenbloom student. The list will target the Sprite, make it a 1-Might unit, and then send in our Bewitching Spirit to Conquer and draw a card. 5 plays 7. That card is not so bad. We can give temporary to the Heart of Dark Ice. However, like, Fizz Starcross is probably our best play here. But Fizz Starcross means that we're just leaving our Vex hanging to die. Alright, playing Fizz to the Aspirant's Climb. Do we Starcross the Vex here? Oh. We're Starcrossing our Ezreal? Oh, no, the Fizz. Okay. Starcross, bring the Fizz back. Play Ezreal, tap Ezreal, draw a card. Into a stack deck. Spicee looking down. 5 runes available. Has to try and fend off the onslaught from CarrotWiz. Pack of Wonders bounces Sprite Fountain. Playing to replay Sprite Fountain to reinforce this Vex battlefield. And I think CarrotWiz is just saying, okay, I'm going to reestablish my Rex, kill the Vex, and then look for like a big Sprite play. All right, another stack deck. Finds us a Gust. It's going to be pretty good as this game starts to get towards its late stages. An unchecked power would be pretty nuts here. Count down his runes. 9 runes available to CarrotWiz, I believe. I think I see an unchecked power. I think that's what the play is. Slams it down. Unchecked power. Do you have the abandoned question mark? If not, bye-bye all of your units. All right, maybe we're going to gust back our Ezreal. We could stupefy our Vex and gust it back, which would probably be the play. Sorry about that, chat. Stupefy Vex. This is a pretty heads-up play from Spicee, knowing that Vex is the most important card here. I'm wondering if CarrotWiz has a Defy. Oh. This is going to stupefy something else. To draw a card. Okay, maybe we're digging for the Defy. And we're going to defy the Stupefy. So that means that we can gust one of our other units, but not the Vex. Alright, Gust still available to us. Bringing back our Ezreal probably. Oh, the Bewitching Spirit. Says we have enough cards, we just want to grind and we want to take out all of your cards in hand. CarrotWiz passes turn. And now Spicee sacrifices a Sprite Fountain, gets a Sprite. And looks like we're going to 10 runes. Picks up a Bellows Breath. Caraman closes these. Let's go. It's pretty close. Like, we can Sprite Burst into a Lillia. Depending on what exactly CarrotWiz has in hand and what Spicee can reinforce these battlefields with. It looks like we're lining up an Accelerated Watcher to draw from Seat of Power. That's what it is. It's going to be Accelerated Watcher. Go into Seat of Power to draw a card. It's going to make life a little bit awkward for CarrotWiz. But now we're 7-7. We pick up another pack of wonders. Oh my. These draws have been devastating for Spicee. All right. 2 runes open for Spicee. What can CarrotWiz find? Hand looks a little bit clunky here. Looks like we're going to make a Sprite. make a Sprite, maybe discipline it twice. Oh, timeout. Are we going to smoke screen the Watcher? Spicee's hand is basically a brick. I don't know if CarrotWiz can close out this game this turn. CarrotWiz, I don't think, can make a second unit that's ready. However, I do believe we can go ahead and kill this Watcher if we try our darndest. I wonder if CarrotWiz thinks that they need to take out the Watcher, and it looks like the smokescreen on the Watcher means that we will likely go for the kill here. 5 plays 3. Not a lot Spicee can do. In the tank, just feign having some sort of cards, some sort of responses. Think there's nothing Spicee can do. Says okay. CarrotWiz goes to 8. CarrotWiz with a slight lead. This is getting grindy. This is getting crazy. I love these kind of matches. All right, Spicee. What can we find here? Off the top, Watcher, Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. I think we go ahead and fizz here. Just accrue a little bit of value. Build up for a big Watcher turn to double conquer. The question is, can we find some way to not die to like a Sprite Burst? I don't know whether or not CarrotWiz has a Sprite Burst, but we have to find a way to not die to a Sprite Burst. And it looks like we're going to go ahead and accelerate this Watcher out now. It worked so well the first time. Let's do it a second time. Both players now at 8. And Spicee says go. This is so close. What can CarrotWiz find? We need to stop the hold. So we need to kill this Watcher somehow. We're working with 9 runes. We can play our own Watcher. That wouldn't be so bad. Alright, we're making a Sprite. We're going into the Aspirant's Climb. We say pass. And we're going to try and draw a card. Draw because we can't gain a point. Now the question is, how do we get over top of this Watcher? Looks like we drew a Sprite Burst, which is 6 and not 7. Don't say it, chat. And it looks like CarrotWiz packs it up. Can't get over top of this Watcher and says, GG, we'll go game 2. CarrotWiz on the play. Not able to close this out on the Aspirant's Climb game. Going into game 2, CarrotWiz on the play once again. Will likely be playing into a Frozen Fortress or a Sigil of the Storm. Very possibly it'll be Sigil of the Storm. Wanting another long, drawn-out, grindy game. However, Lillia isn't a super power hungry deck. Doesn't really require a whole lot of power to go ahead and play and enact their game plan. Basically, what Ezreal wants to do in this spot is to slow the game down, make it difficult to conquer and get to 8, or in game 1's case, 9. Accrue value, grind it out, and then just kind of win the long con. With Aspirant's Climb out of the way, this means that we're going to be able to kind of take a peek at it and play. Spicee's going to be able to play game 3 on the play and play it their way. I can't imagine there will be a lot of sideboarding here for Spicee. Probably not anticipating playing a lot of Lillias, especially in this event or especially into top 8. However, does look like they want to trim down just a little bit on this pack Trove combo. I mean, who wouldn't? They found all 3 copies of both last game. Kind of crazy if you ask me. And I imagine the Lillia players probably trying to play a little bit more lean, get rid of some of the like stuns and some of the craziness that comes out that Ezreal just doesn't really play too much into. Like Mask is probably like okay for Lillia. I wouldn't hate taking it out. However, both players kind of thinking through their decisions. And maybe we're on Sigil of the Storm here. I'm not 100% sure which battlefield Spicee decided to play here. Both players making sure that they are siding as optimally as possible. A lot of cards look like they're coming out for CarrotWiz here. Looks like 4 cards, probably almost all dedicated to anything related to... Oh my god, is that 6 cards? Anything dedicated to killing a Vex. Vex is strong, so Charms, Riptide Vexes, anything that you need to kill a Vex, that's what needs to come in. That Vex, honestly, made life incredibly miserable for CarrotWiz, to be honest with you. Smoke and Mirrors coming out, it looks like. Oh, is this like a full board scenario? Is that 8 cards coming in? 8 cards coming out? Whew, that's a lot. Spicee going hard here. Or sorry, CarrotWiz going hard here with this sideboard. Spicee all sided up and ready to go. CarrotWiz looks like they're also almost finished. All right. Both players done with their sideboarding, presented their battlefields, ready to go. Shuffle up and deal. So, talking through this matchup, once again, Ezreal really just wants to stall the game out as much as possible, which is why Aspirant's Climb, Sigil of the Stormer in here. Lillia, on the other hand, wants to commit good units to the base and send in all of those temporary sprites over and over and over, little minions to go to a battlefield, get a point, and be temporary and pass away. Goodbye, sprites. And make it so that when the time comes, your your bases are stacked with units that you can go ahead and overpower anything Ezreal has to offer. All right, we have the Arena's Greatest versus Sigil of the Storm. Arena's Greatest would have been a pretty solid game 1 choice had they known Aspirant's Climb was on the way. All right. Spicee. Looks like we're sending 2 back. Keeping this Gust. 2 goes back for CarrotWiz as well. Once again, we really need a turn 1 play for CarrotWiz. We need to get on the board fast and early. All right, we remembered our Arena's Greatest trigger. Feels good. And we have our turn 1 play. Ravenbloom Student into a pass. Spicee. Oh, all right, we have half the combo. Looks like we have a Gust, a List, a Fizz, a Bellows Breath, Treasure Trove. We'll probably just commit the Trove and pass. Maybe a List, but you don't really need to right now. You can get plenty of information. We could send Ravenbloom Student into Sigil of the Storm so that we have the ability to hold it instead of sending in a Sprite. Make a Sprite to go into Arena's Greatest so we don't have to continue recycling runes over and over and over again. Alternatively, we can just make a Sprite, send it into the Arena's Greatest, and then say go. Alright, Sprite into the Arena's Greatest. Goes to 2. And says go. Okay. So we opted into not going into the Sigil of the Storm. Probably a smart move. Looks like we pick up a second copy of Gust here for Spicee. We probably want to go ahead and commit this Ezreal here shortly. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to pay 3, recycle a Chaos Rune, commit this Ezreal onto the board, and likely get rid of the List or one of these Gusts. I could also see a world where we get rid of Bellows Breath. It's pretty good in the late game. Not so good in our current predicament. Yeah, the List is gone. Buy List. We draw a Pack of Wonders, which is perfect. We can stick that out right now and start our ramping up. Or we can just hold up some Gust ammo. Oh, looks like we're going to go ahead and send out the Pack of Wonders. Bring that Treasure Trove back home. Ramp 1, draw 1, say go. Unfortunately, now with the Ezreal established, it makes it so that it's pretty awkward for us to send this Ravenbloom Student into Sigil of the Storm. I really would have liked to have done it last turn. That means we'd be holding here to 4. However, what we can do is we can play Sprite Fountain, make another Sprite for cheaper, and send in these Sprites. The issue with it is we're recycling a rune. Oh, we're going to get rid of the Pack of Wonders. Disarming rate coming down, getting rid of the Pack of Wonders makes it so that the air quote combo is still missing a piece. CarrotWiz in the tank, thinking through what they want to do. Gonna pay 2. Looks like this is a Sprite Fountain. And it is indeed Sprite Fountain, making a Sprite, and we'll send it into the Arena's Greatest and say go. Can't imagine there would be very much more development here for CarrotWiz. However, we could maybe like charm in this Ezreal, get it off the board if we have a charm. CarrotWiz really thinking about it. Defiant hand. Not sure what else is available. Both these players have been playing for now 5 rounds of Swiss, going into top 8. Tough match for both of them. Tough day for both of them. Because both of them have been grinding out these games. CarrotWiz ends up deciding to just go ahead and pass the turn over to Spicee. Spicee picks up a list, or the list rather. Probably leads off here with, oh, timeout, paying 2, Bella's Breath. Kill the squad. All right. Ezreal getting a decent 2-for-1 off of this Bella's Breath and drawing a card. Picks up a 3rd copy of Gust. Stack deck. Seeing if we can find some units here, and there is a Vex. The Vex goes immediately to hand. Now, Ezreal goes into Sigil the Storm, then plays a Vex. Maybe just plays a Vex. Just plays a Vex. Get that stack deck out of here. Bam. All right, all right. Back over to CarrotWiz. Sprite Fountain will go temporary. Make a Sprite. And Spicee's in a really good spot here. CarrotWiz, now that Vex is on the base, not quite on a battlefield just yet, so it's not turned on. CarrotWiz now has to go ahead and try and establish some presence in the base, saying, hey, if you want to go ahead and put this Vex into the battlefield, I'm going to be threatening it. Giving it a quick read, making sure there's no funny business. But in reality, they want to put some might. Oh, instead, just going Sprite Fountain. We're just going to load up Arena's Greatest, maybe? Threatening to kill whatever comes into it? But it's very interesting because Spicee really doesn't have to kill these sprites. Can just say, okay, and pass turn and let them temporarily disappear. CarrotWiz going into the Arena's Greatest, going to 4. Just figured out on table 3, Phoenix piloting Irelia, going up against Congri on Diana. Phoenix did pick it up 2-0. So we have 1 Irelia slated for top 4. Two sprites in base for CarrotWiz. We played the Sprite Burst. What are we going to do with these sprites? I feel like we probably want to put them on a battlefield and charm over this Vex. I feel like charm was something that we were considering doing previously. Wait a second. Oh, okay. So we're giving Vex a point and recycling a rune. Now we're going to move both of our sprites over. This is a pretty heads-up play. Really killing the Vex and costing Spicee a rune. However, the issue here is it costs CarrotWiz an extra rune too for conquering Sigil of the Storm. However, CarrotWiz on 5. Spicee's still in a pretty good spot here. Unfortunately, no Vex anymore. We'll play Fizz, probably getting back a stacked deck. Yep, stacked deck indeed. It says, can I find another Vex? The answer is no. Eclipse, probably the pickup here. Maybe Stupefy. Like double Stupefy is pretty good because you get to draw off your Ezreal. And it looks like it'll probably be Eclipse, and it is indeed Eclipse. Eclipse picked up here for Spicee. And recycled goes the stack deck. Looks like we're going to come out the list here. Name sprite. Make the Arena's Greatest sprite smaller and push in our Ezreal. Get us on the board to 3. Still plenty of cards available here. However, CarrotWiz pretty low on resources. And Spicee with some pretty powerful cards in hand in both Stupefy as well as Eclipse. Looks like we might go for a Sprite and challenge this Ezreal. Question is, what are we going to do here? Stupefy is the best possible. And now we have to defy a Stupefy? That's not good. Now we can just gust away the Sprite or gust away the Ezreal, one or the other, and both feel good. We essentially just time walked CarrotWiz. We get to hold, and we're like regaining tempo here. All right, Spicee in a very commanding position here. We'll hold up to 4. Oh, and we just got a Bewitching Spirit in hand. Bewitching Spirit going to be played for 3. Force CarrotWiz to discard a card. Down goes the Riptide Rex. It looks like only 2 cards for CarrotWiz. Not in a great spot here in game number 2. Pushing this Fizz forward into the Sigil of the Storm. We'll recycle a rune and go to 5. Three runes open. We'll play Treasure Trove. Wait, timeout. Won't play Treasure Trove. Will play Treasure Trove. And it's going to kill Treasure Trove. To ramp 1, draw a card. Didn't see what we picked up. It looks like we picked up a Vex. Spicee. Is that a Vex? I would have liked to see the Bewitching Spirit go onto the Arena's Greatest and pull back the Ezreal. But maybe that's too telling of a combat trick. I guess both of these units trade with a Sprite, which isn't so bad. We might play Sprite Burst here and just try and take down both of these battlefields. Seeing now that time is running low for CarrotWiz, the longer this game drags out, the better it is for Spicee. CarrotWiz thinking through the lines. 6 runes available. I believe 3 cards in hand. I think we have a Sprite Burst in there too. Thinking through, is Sprite Burst the play? It's pretty tough considering you don't get to play your Lillia legend off of it as well. We might just play Lillia Faithon here and try and develop 2 units. Say you can go to 7, but I'm going to stop you from going to 8. Alright, Sprite Burst comes out. We're going to just try and kill both of these units. 2 cards in hand for CarrotWiz. First goes into this Ezreal. We probably just gust it. Goodbye, Sprite. Second Sprite goes forward. We gust it and we draw a card, right? Yep, gust. Draw a card off of Ezreal. Our hand isn't like super fantastic here for Spicee, but we've got board control, we've got battlefield control, and it's up to CarrotWiz to stop us from winning the game. All we have to do is hold one of these 2 battlefields. We're in prime position to do that. Bewitching Sprite, pretty good. We can get rid of one of the 2 cards from CarrotWiz. We can just reinforce these battlefields. Oh, with a Vex. Maybe we should have started with the Bewitching Spirit first, but it's okay. Bewitching Spirit, discard a card. Give them as little information as possible. Discard first before they know about the Vex. Yeah, I know. Gust is OP. I know. Discarding the Riptide Rex. And it looks like we are going to play Sprite Fountain. Reinforce even more. borrowing your opponent's sprites to beat them with it is Spicee, and passes it over to CarrotWiz. Now 2 cards in hand, 8 runes, and it extends the fist bump. Spicee picks it up in 2, picks up this match. Spicee is our winner, piloting Ezreal, but still, what a wonderful showing coming out of CarrotWiz with Lillia. Lillia, the underdog. Definitely one of the not most representative decks. However, piloted exceptionally and into our top 8. Well done, CarrotWiz. Triple Gust is just too much to get over top of, and this Ezreal is able to take it down 2-0, advancing into the quarterfinals. Or sorry, the semifinals rather. So as of right now, the only things that we know are confirmed for the semifinals is an Irelia and an Ezreal. We still have the potential for Mistblade on Rengar. I missed my Q on Master Yi, as well as Troy on Lee Sin, or Croy with Produce on Irelia. So we could have a second Irelia player. We might not. Nevertheless, we've got a little bit of time, a little bit of a break. Who are you all cheering for? Who are you all hoping to win? Oh, we just got an update right off the presses. I missed my cue. Picks it up 2-0 on Master Yi up against Rengar. So that means we have an Ezreal, we have an Irelia, a Master Yi, potentially a Lee Sin, and potentially an Irelia. So we're going to see Spicee playing against Master Yi, Ezreal versus Yi in the quarterfinals. We're going to see what comes about from the Lee Sin Irelia matchup to determine who Phoenix is going to play against and what we'll see next round on stream. Let me know in chat what you guys want to see, which legends spark your interest. Anyways, we'll be back shortly. Talk to you soon.